right, well, hello, and welcome everyone to our BG5 Live. This is episode 6, and it's May 14th, and I forgot to put the title here. So what we're going to be taking a look at today is we are going to be exploring our 6th quality day. We're going to be exploring the objective leader. So before we get started, I want to do a huge shout out with our team and have them each say hello, and then we'll jump in and get started. So Chris, you want to get us started?
Yeah, sure. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, exactly. My new headset. Woo! Super excited to talk about what we're going to discuss today. We got a cool little video. It's fun. So welcome. We're excited to have you here.
Great. And Natalie.
Yeah, so I'm very excited as well. And I got really creative in creating this one video. So happy to have you, and I hope that you enjoy it.
Yay. Yay. And Lavina.
Hi guys, I am doing my projector thing, so I'll be in the background and offering support if necessary, but sorry to be off camera, not feeling super peppy today.
Yeah, well, thanks for being here despite not feeling well. We really appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now I want to just double check here because can you see my screen?
Yeah.
Has it changed?
Quality
Yes.
6.
Okay, yeah. Awesome. All right, well, what we are taking a look at today, it's a quality 6 day, so it's about the objective leader. So one of the things about the objective leader is really seeing things from this rooftop view, really taking a look at the big picture. So one of the things we're going to take a look at is that big picture, and part of the theme to the day is this this idea of synthesis of, the parts, but the whole being greater than the sum of its parts. So when we take a look at the 6th quality, it's this sort of rooftop view. It's this big picture. It's this trusted leader and guide. It's a role model. And it's a role model because you've been there, you've done that, you've experienced it. You can have a sense of aloofness, sort of above it all. But there's this place of being very objective and also very optimistic. So I wanted to check in with our team, and if there's anything that you wanted to add about this quality 6 that you relate to, and specifically if there's something about this quality 6 that you relate to specifically in your own design as well.
Oh,
I think I only have 1/6 line in my design.
Really?
Yeah. I have a lot of everything else, but I think I only have 1/6 line. So I don't necessarily relate to it, although I can see how it plays out in other areas of my design, but I don't necessarily see it. Yeah. It's interesting.
So that's a very interesting point. As we're kind of taking a look at through all of these aspects, there's aspects that you have personally, and there's aspects that you can then also then witness or see in others. So you can also share if you have an experience with someone else who is either a 6 quality in their public role or has a lot of that quality within their career design. How about you, Natalie?
Yeah, so I do have some. I just checked real quickly. I have 5, and one is in my conscious driving force. So that is a beautiful one, and it's actually the 61. So inner truth that we are experiencing in background as well. And no coincidence that I'm here in teaching this information as well. And what I see about these 6-line people when I come across them as clients, they have these 3 phases in their lives, and usually when I see them, they are in the 2nd phase. And depending on their public role and their other side of it, they're kind of lost in that stage or feeling, so what is it all about, and when they hear objective leader, they don't feel like that yet, because it's really more after 50 that they get to be this real objective leader and having contemplated on the roof top, but it also comforts them or allows them to be themselves and not pressure themselves to be this trusted leader and guide already, and that they can take their time and that they can be aloof, and so that's really helpful usually for people that have it in their public role. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautiful. Lavina, is there anything that you would like to add?
Yeah, Natalie brings up really good points. One more thing I would add is because I have this in my past and future conscious direction, I'm really sensitive to seeing this in my observations of others. And what I can tell is that they have this tendency, these 6 quality public role people, who are really hypersensitive to being hypocritical. So they're more in alignment with walking their talk. Now, some of the qualities are, it depends on what their individual designs are about, but overall, being able to be a trusted leader means that you role model or walk your speech. You're really authentic. Authenticity is a really good quality for these guys.
Yeah. And with that, again, walking your talk, there's this natural trust. And so it's also a big responsibility as well, because people will trust you and what you say and what you share. And so it's really important to have that level of integrity. And it's sort of this rooftop kind of looking at, kind of where we're moving forward, what's next. And so one of the things we're going to take a look at today is take a look at this sort of in the context of the trait that it's in as well. And we're focused here on assimilation and fusion. And when we take a look at assimilation and fusion, this is in a sense sort of seeing sort of the individual parts, but this fusion and this assimilation and the synthesis of how everything comes together. In the foundation course, which we just started last week, one of the things that we talk about is the binary and the synthesis, where there's a this and a that, but when you put something together, it creates something new. And so this assimilation, this fusion of the individual parts and as they come together is part of what we're taking a look at in BG5, because we're taking a look at ourselves as an individual. But then we're also taking a look at ourselves in relationship to partnership, and we're taking a look at ourselves in relationship to a small group, and then we're taking a look at ourselves as far as a large group, and the groups get larger and larger. So when we take a look at this, we can take a look at this, and we're going to show you a video here in a moment. This is what this big black spot is. Hopefully it works. But this sort of zooming in and zooming out to kind of, see where it starts, but kind of zooming out and seeing the bigger and bigger and bigger picture, and seeing, in a sense, how we're all a part of the whole. So let me see if I can get this to work here correctly,
Yeah, there you go. That could.
Right. Let's do that.
Well, trying something new, it's and this is the thing actually. There we go. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah, go ahead and play that. So here's part of also this 6 quality as well. Again, seeing this sort of rooftop view, and as we're zooming out, again, it's sort of this trial and error process, if you will, for the first 30 years or so. And what Natalie was mentioning, then it's kind of going to the rooftop and kind of getting a bigger perspective, kind of going out and sort of healing from the first 30 years where there's a lot of trial and error when you're on the ground, and getting this larger perspective. And as you can see, as we continue to zoom out, we can start to see that, not only, we're in a city, we're in a state, it zooms out, and we're now in the universe, and we're in the outer planets, and we're in,
Outer belt,
yep,
whatever.
and we're at the dwarf planets. You can see that we continue to zoom out. We're on the outer Oort cloud. We can neighboring stars. So as we keep zooming out, we're still a part of this whole. We're still a part of this whole universe, and we're only in a sense sort of a small part. So as we continue to zoom out, you can see that, these are all the different parts, all the different synthesis all the different things that we're a part of. See here, we're local star cluster to the cosmic web. 10 billion light years away. But notice we can zoom back in. And one of the things about this sixth quality is, again, there's this time where they're down on the ground. There's then the time where it's, getting this bigger perspective and then zooming back in and being back down to earth. Now, you'll notice that even if we go inward, we get deeper and deeper and deeper aspects. So it's kind of like this repeated pattern. It's this fractal. That the smaller we go, this is all a part of a bigger universe, and these are all of the different parts. But notice as we come together at different parts, we can see it, close up, and we can zoom out, and we can zoom in either way. All right.
What I love about this is that it shows that we're really mostly space either way.
Yes.
I just think that's really cool.
Yeah, exactly. And notice how the quark, when we get to the quark and when we were in the most outer layer as well, it kind of looks like the same thing. Mm-hmm. So it's almost like the same within, it's the same without. And let me go back to my screen here.
That was super cool. Great idea, Natalie.
Mm-hmm.
Wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see. She's done with it. It's even
let me go
very,
here.
very
there
cool.
we go. Yeah. So let me go ahead and share my screen again. So with that video, again, it's this assimilation, it's this fusion, it's the, we see it from one perspective, but we can zoom in and zoom in and zoom in, and we can see that there's smaller and smaller aspects, or we can zoom out and zoom out and zoom out and see that there's a larger part of the whole. And this is really when we're taking a look at BG5, again, what we're taking a look at is, in a sense, these different, the sneeze. Excuse me. Sorry. We see these deeper levels, these deeper layers, and we start to see, again, how we connect, we connect, again, as individuals, as partnerships, as small groups, as larger groups, as we, connect as a world as well. So let's take a look here, and hopefully Natalie's work will work. So again, we're in the sixth quality day, and this is trait 23. So again, the theme is assimilation, and it's about this fusion. It's the whole is greater than the sum of its parts. It's the quantum, so you got from that video, you really got this sense of this quantum in zooming in and zooming out, going deeper and deeper and deeper inward and going, further and further away. It really is, in a sense, the this and that. When you combine them, it creates something completely new. Like here you have the blue and you have the yellow, and when you put them together, it creates green. It creates this synthesis. It creates this fusion. So this is the gradual attunement of diversity through synthesis. So here we have this diversity. We have the diversity here of the yellow and the blue. We have the diversity that we just took a look at in the video of, the diversity of just being, a single person on the planet, to the diversity of the planets and the universe and the solar system, etc., as we zoomed out, or as we zoomed in, going to the DNA and to our molecules, etc. So again, it's this gradual attunement of the diversity through synthesis. And it's this individual knowing which brings diversity to synthesis. So it's bringing together all of these different pieces, all of these different parts. And that's one of the things, again, that we do in BG5, which we'll show you in just a moment, on how it works in sort of bringing together and synthesizing us as individuals as we move into, larger groups or smaller groups. Now, again, there is always, in a sense, there's the this and the that, always. And so there's always the other side. The individual knowing that holds on to diversity and loses its power and expression. You know, so if you hold on to just the blue or hold on to just the yellow, you never get the green. You know, so it's holding on to, you know, the individual parts without being able to see this quantum, without being able to see this greater whole. So anything our panel would like to say or share about this?
Ooh.
Ooh.
Processing that. I don't have the 23, but I have the 43, and I'm just thinking about this individual knowing that holds on to diversity and loses its power and expression. Would you say that could be either holding on to one aspect or the other? Is that kind of what you're saying there? It's like you just hold on, well, it's got to be this or it's got to be that. And I just, I think it's interesting to watch that, you know, and looking at where we get pulled off track.
Right.
It's an interesting discussion around that.
Yeah. And 23, I didn't actually, I should have put where 23 is located within the career chart, but it is connected to the throat. One of the things we're taking a look at in the communication and action profit potential workshop is all of these different expressions. And so you can see that, you know, if you're holding on to diversity, it loses its power and expression. So this is actually a you know, expression of individuality. You know, it's an expression of something unique, and it brings about mutation. And part of the way it brings about mutation is by bringing together these different things that may seem unrelated, but when you bring them together, it creates something completely new, completely different.
Yeah, and I could see where if you aren't able to allow for that synthesis or you think, oh, I got to, you know, again, we're talking a lot in the profit potential, the communication and action of where our shadows are and where the natural expression is. And you know, there's something about this loses its power and expression that I find really fascinating, because that is, you know, we live in a world where it's like, be polarizing, be black and white. And, you know, sometimes the most polarizing thing you can do is just be yourself. And that's so scary for people, just to be themselves, you know, and not parrot what everybody else is saying. And that's really the quality 6 in this in this trait, is really calling for, you know, can you be and have that larger objective perspective, synthesize it and express from that place, and not worry about the polarization so much.
Yeah.
You know, oh, right.
It's that area of gray, you know, the gradual attunement to diversity through synthesis.
Right.
You know, it's neither this nor that, but yet it's both this and that. You know, on the other side of the 23 is trait 43, which is all about breakthrough, right? So this is like the breakthrough, the aha, and on the other side, it's how it gets expressed, and how it, you know, how these, you know, maybe individual thoughts or individual ideas get synthesized into something new, something unique, something, you know, individual, something different than has existed before. Anything, Lavina, that you would like to add?
I'm just tripping out because I could feel where Chris was going, but I didn't know how to articulate it, and she did it beautifully. It's a great insight, you know, like it took you a little bit to get it, but then I was like, oh, I get it. It's a flash, and then it's gone. I don't really have anything else to add.
Well, isn't that funny? Because that's not having the 23, right? And so the breakthroughs there, it won't come out until it comes out. Right? But that's interesting. Thanks,
yeah, and I have the 43 too, and it's very interesting. I mean, just I'm giggling because we're kind of illustrating exactly sort of what this is as well, especially the 6th quality, where the 6th quality is almost beyond. And what I mean is almost beyond words. Like you can get it, you can geek out on it, but maybe you can't quite express it. You can't really put words to it
Yeah.
because it's almost sort of beyond what we can really grasp. It's
Yeah.
it's those things that we cannot really put words to because it's so much bigger than that.
Right. And it's that, and because it's a synthesis, we have this way, I think, our minds of going, well, I have to latch on to, it's the yellow, it's the blue, I got to keep them pure instead of like there's something, I love painting, right? I do a lot of painting and as a way to process things, and that what happens, mix colors of paint, just like here on the screen, there's such a cool process. I was just laughing. My 43 is the only sixth line I have. So I just think that's so interesting that I don't have the 23 and the 6, but the 43 is. So I don't know what that means, but it's kind of fun. This is coming together today.
Yeah, very, very cool. Yeah, so it is this on the rooftop, but it can be on the rooftop, this beyond words. And again, this is the foundation of what we take a look at in BG5. This is what we start with in the very first class of the foundation course, is really understanding these individual pieces. And when you bring all the pieces together, there's this beautiful dance. There's this beautiful synthesis of how everything connects. And so let's see if we can, and let me see if this works on my screen. Ooh, it may actually work. So Natalie put this together, and I would love to have like a real animator to animate it, but Natalie did a beautiful job of kind of showing or illustrating, like the video that we just saw, from the universe perspective. This is, in a sense, that synthesis, if you will, when we're taking a look at it from the BG5 perspective. So here we have the synthesis of our body graph, so we have the unconscious and we have the conscious. When you put them together in this synthesis, right, this creates our unique design. Then we have the synthesis of partnership. You put two people together and 1 + 1 actually equals 3, right? You put the two people together, you create something completely new. Then we have the synthesis of a small group, right? So this is about 3 to 5 people. When you put 3 to 5 people together, you have this synthesis known as the penta, or the unified group. Now, if you take the unified group and you add 2 more, you have the synthesis, which is a large group, or an OC16. We just started the OC16 class. And then you can see the larger group or synthesis of 81 people. And then it continues to expand, the synthesis of a city, the synthesis of a state, the synthesis of a country, the synthesis of a continent, the synthesis of the globe, of the world, so it's just this repeating pattern, getting, more and more complex. But as we, in a sense, sort of zoom back in, we can zoom back into, again, the structure of groups together, the structure of the OC16, of the 81, this individual OC16, this large group dynamic. And zoom in, we take a look at the pentas, or the unified groups, and the synthesis of those unified groups. Again, going back to the penta, a group of 3 to 5 people, and then taking a look once again at the synthesis of partnership, 1 and 1 + 3, and going back to us and our individual career design, again, which is a synthesis of the unconscious and the conscious aspects of our body graph. So that's cool. Isn't that cool? I just love that.
I love it.
Nice job, Natalie. Woohoo!
Woohoo! Great.
Oh, I was just, as we prepare these sessions a little bit, like looking at the quality and the day it is, and I was just, when we talked about the synthesis and how it is also related, actually the whole system is a synthesis. We are a synthesis, and the universe is a synthesis. So that's when I thought of the YouTube video that I saw, and I was like, I can do something like this with our system as well. So yeah, Lavina says trippy, absolutely amazing. Yeah, it was in creating it as well.
Oh, it's so cool. And I just love seeing all you guys' faces, how amazing. It just was neat to see it pull together too. Just like that video we just watched. How inspiring.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Very cool.
I love this because we really start to get that, there's so much focus on the individual, especially, in just in human design, right? And what we really get, and because we just started OC16 this week as well on Monday, is this is so much bigger than us as individuals understanding ourselves. I think it's absolutely essential and important for us to understand ourselves in the context of the whole, in the context of a partnership of a small group, whether that small group Penta is a family or your business or whatever, and then in OC16, but to really see it mapped over humanity and to see the gene pool and how we come together. It's just like, that's cool. It's really, really cool.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then you can also see, it's kind of like, when we did the whole zoom out, you could see in a sense sort of this beautiful elaborate pattern. And did you notice that pattern was, in a sense, it looked like a snowflake.
Yeah, like a snowflake.
And when we took a look at that pattern of zooming out into, the biggest, universal cluster, again, sort of these individual parts that make up this whole, that make up this quantum. I just, like I said, just looking at it from all of these different perspectives, again, you can see that, we're moving into this age of the individual. But here's the interesting piece in that. So things, I'm sure many of you have noticed that times are changing. Things are going crazy. We're in a time of major, major transition. And we're in this transition from the era of planning into the era of the individual. But what's interesting about the individual, and I think what this also represents so beautifully, is that even though we're an individual, we're still very intimately connected with the whole. And the more individual you can be, and what I mean by individual is the more that you can be what your design represents, the more that you can really live out your career design, what you are here to do, what your life purpose is, the more that you can live that out, it's this sort of synthesis of, it's sort of this inside out thing, is that the more individual you become, the deeper you can connect to this greater whole. Yeah. Right? We don't get to the greater whole by trying to force ourselves in. We get to the greater whole by going, it's sort of like this inside out. Like the more connected we are to who we are, the more that we can see that we're a bigger part of the picture. It's kind of like having all of these different puzzle pieces and knowing where we fit exactly within the puzzle that creates this beautiful, amazing, incredible design.
We have to know our fractal.
Yeah.
The way I see it is that when we understand our fractal, then we get to see where we fit in and how there's no competition. There is no, we can truly stop judging ourself and others, and communication is easier. Everything is easier. Everything shifts.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. And when we're talking about the fractal, let me see if I can just get back to that slide here. What we're talking about is kind of this. Oh, now it's working. Of course. So what we're talking about is if you take a look at this sort of this fractal assimilation and fusion and synthesis, it's kind of like what's in your triangle. What are the ones that are closest? What are the ones that if you take a look at a puzzle, what are the puzzle pieces that are supposed to be directly around you? And it's not that you don't want all of the pieces, it won't work. The puzzle won't work that way. It's finding your unique place. It's finding your unique role. It's finding your, what you are here to do on the planet. What, not only, and it's beyond what the career is. Again, we're looking at that rooftop, what's beyond. It's like really what you're here to do, in career and life, to not only support yourself financially, but something that's also enriching and fulfilling, that you feel that there's a sense of purpose. There is a reason, and it's part of being, part of this whole puzzle, this whole big picture.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, beautifully said. And what also crossed my mind is, Chris said you have to know your fractal. Yes, it's interesting to know, and you can consciously work more toward it. But in the end, it doesn't even matter.
It doesn't even matter.
If you live your design, if you live by your type and your decision making strategy, you will meet your fractal and you will attract your fractal. So so that's the beauty of this whole system. In essence, it's so simple, and yet
yet infinitely complex.
It's so true. I say to people, your design does you. So when you're in alignment with it, it's fun and you're having a great time. And when you're not, it's a struggle and you feel worthless and who am I and blah, 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 all those questions. And that's where the understanding yourself can come in and help to understand that it doesn't really matter. If you understand. One of the things that also popped into my head is that when we pulled out and when we went deep down inside, there's this crystalline thing, like even the snowflake pattern, there's this crystalline essence that's there. And isn't it our crystal, that the personality crystal that is in the monad? I mean, that, like, when we really get that, that's such a gift. Like, we are a gift, and our design is holding that and expressing that. It's really, that's cool.
Yeah, exactly. Anything, Lavina?
I wanted to really reiterate what Chris said as far as the recognition that there shouldn't be so much pressure on us to try and make sense of this. I guess if I could just let it, we're looking at, wow, this is really fascinating. We can get all caught up in the details, but if we could take a hint from the 6th quality day and to just step back, see big picture, and be okay being in awe and wonder, and that we won't really truly ever know, that everything is in transition, everything's always in flux. And the real place that we can find our home in is our decision-making strategy, which rests with this form and will always guide us no matter what our mind thinks.
Yeah.
No matter what the mind thinks, we can let go of the stories and trying to make sense of why, and just come back home to what's present now in my internal validation of my interaction with the other. And that will always lead and guide us and give us the process of what we're looking for, the fulfilling life that we're looking for.
Yeah. Exactly.
Well said.
Beautifully said.
Beautiful closure.
Exactly. So think about that today in your own life. Just kind of take a look at, just like what Lavina said, where is that awe and wonder of everything being perfect, right? Even the struggles, especially with the 6th line, or with the 6th quality, there's struggle involved, especially in the first 30 years. It's trial and error. And, even in the struggles, finding the beauty, in the struggles as well. And knowing that we are a part, of a bigger picture. We are a part of a bigger universe, and we all have our perfect place. We wouldn't be here otherwise. Yeah. So thank you to our team. And any last words to wrap everything up?
There's one question. It's how do we access the replay of today's class? Can we just share that real quick? Where people can find
Yep.
that?
You can find it on the BG5 website. If you go to blog, it's under BG5 Live. We will also have it in the Facebook study group, so you can access it there. And so those are the two key places where you can access it.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
Thanks for
Yeah.
asking.
Any other questions or anything for those of you who are here and participating? Anything that you would like to share or say before we sign off?
I'm good. This was the most trippy BG5 live we've made so far, and beautifully as it is today's quality and today's trade, it just flowed out of our mouth, and none of us have the 23.
I do. It's a 5 though. It's not.
Oh,
a 6.
sorry.
You have it. Oh. It was Lavina. She conditioned.
Oh, it was Lavina's energy
Contributed.
behind the scenes.
Exactly,
Yeah, you
exactly.
said when we started
that's why you had to be here, because we have the 43.
Exactly.
We just don't
You
have
needed to represent.
the 43. Love it.
There was a question about where the study group link is. So we posted the BG5 Live into the chat, and also the study group for those of you who are interested in joining us for these.
Great.
Yeah.
Great. Awesome. All right. Well, again, if you have the opportunity, we are in the Profit by Being You Through Communication. It started last week. We have our second class tomorrow. So if you want to join on board, we're going to be taking a look at that trait 23 in much more depth. Probably, let's see, it's not this week, but I believe it's the following week. I can't remember. It's in the series. So we will be taking a look at that trait in particular in a lot of depth in our profit potential workshop. So we invite you to join us. Again, you're only one class behind, so there's still a chance to jump on board and join our profit potential workshops. And also we had our first class of the BG5 Foundation course. So if you want to get a feel for what the BG5 courses are all about, you can attend the first class free. The course starts 3 times a year. Again, if you're listening this via recording, in May, in September, and January. So we just kicked off our newest semester. And there's still time to sign up for the BG5 Foundation course as well. It's happening on Thursday. You can take a look at that free trial class, get a sense of what the class is all about, and then if you want to jump aboard and join us, there's still an opportunity to join us in the BG5 Foundation course. Would love to have you be a part of that. All right, well, let's wrap up our BG5 Live for today. So a huge thank you for everyone who is attending and viewing this live, and a huge shout out to those of you who are also watching via the recording as well. Would love to see you in our classes, and continue to join us live every Tuesday at 1 p.m. Pacific time. So last words from our panel. So I'll start with Lavina. Any last words before we sign off?
Oh my gosh, not really. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. I know you're not feeling great, and even in not feeling great, how you participated and what you shared was really brilliant. So thank you.
Thanks.
Mm-hmm.
And Natalie.
Yeah, I of course particularly love this episode. No, I really get inspired just by talking about it, and as Chris also has these images in her head, I kind of try to create what I see. So yeah, it was fun.
Yes, and thank you so much for your contribution. I love that the little video of how it all comes together, and I think it gave us sort of a real great sense of really what BG5 is all about, and really taking a look at those bigger and bigger aspects. And so in starting OC16, as Chris mentioned, we just started that class this week as well. So it really is taking a look at that bigger picture and being able to see how all of these individual parts then fit together into the whole. And Chris.
Oh yeah, thank you. And just a big shout out to Natalie for creating that video. You're just so creative. I love it. And these are so fun. And just thank you everyone for joining us. And if you have ideas or things that you would like us to write about, talk about, if you have questions, then please email us, let us know. We are open and here to just play and talk about whatever's coming up. So thank you.
Yeah. And for those of you who are attending live, if you do have questions, just like Chris said, if you do have questions, come with your questions. We can unmute you if you want to be on camera, you can be on camera, or you don't have to. You can type in the questions and we can answer it there. And on Facebook Live, you can Lavina is monitoring Facebook, so if you have questions there, you can type in the questions and we can answer them there as well. So great job, everyone. Thank you for being here. And we will see you next week. Bye, everyone. Thanks so much.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.